you feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah, I feel good. I was sick a little bit. It's going around right now, so just trying to stay healthy, stay clean, and stuff like that.
Wink was talking about you sort of making all those sort of, for lack of a better term, like dirty plays, right? All the silent stats. What do you think when you hear your defensive coordinator saying that about you?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Just more like decoys. Not necessarily a decoy because anybody can win, but there's always a scheme and it's always, set up. And Wink's great at, he's a mastermind at drawing up, plays and things like that. So, yeah, just being able to plug and play wherever he wants me and being able to, execute the defense. It's I guess, a knack of mine.
How much is that sort of like the feedback you've received? Like, hey, maybe the stats, the splash stats aren't there, but we like what you're doing here.
Yeah, I think, what are we, 9 weeks in? I haven't, through the totality of 10 games, I haven't received any bad. There's always plays you clean up, there's always things you can grow from, but I don't think I've had a bad game. I've always been able to, even whether it's a bad play, fight back and kind of make up for it on the back end or, just continue to, just keep getting better. Yeah.
Is it satisfying when you're out there and you make a play that led to someone else's sack, even though that doesn't go on your stat sheet?
I would say it's more satisfying when they make the play, right? Because, sometimes you do things and it's like they almost make it or somebody, there's always a if, but when they do make it, it's always fun to, rejoice with your teammate.
You have gotten a couple of those holding calls. Like, do you think we need to petition to make that a statistic? Like, that shouldn't be like a dirty stat. No,
it's definitely.
That count?
For me, it's like I was just thinking about it. Like, if I was a guy who complained about fouls and things, when I started getting them, everybody would hate me. So for me, I'm just gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep getting out the mud, and when they do start getting them, everybody else will take a gasp and be like, okay, finally.
Was that always your mindset in terms of understanding the dirty work from when you were a younger player?
Yeah, I've always played D-line, and even when I played basketball, I was always a big man, so I never was like flashy. I never looked good doing it, but just knowing that the rewards are gonna come at the end of the season.
You pay attention to what Aiden's doing in Detroit. You guys kind of were in the conversation together.
Right now I'm just really focused on our team. He's a great player. He's done a lot of great things. There's a lot of great pass rushers who've done great things, but just being able to kind of hone in on these wins and not really take it for granted. Not get too big. You see a lot, you see a little. So just trying to keep focusing on the next day.
How much pride have you taken in the run part of the game?
That's something that people don't really pay attention to. People who can set up those first and second downs to get to third down. That's
Third and long.
Yeah, exactly. So me being able to stop the run and step up, that's been great for me and just making those gains, right? To be able to be on the field for 4 downs, and I know the pass rush and everything else is going to come. So I'm not really too worried about that as long as I keep playing fundamentally sound and keep growing in that aspect.
There are a lot of players that get motivated by the teams that pass them over, the guys that were drafted ahead of them. You don't pay any attention to all this?
I don't really get motivated because I don't even think it was the team's choice to pass over me. I think, it was already written, right? I think this was where I was supposed to be and God had this in store. So, this is where I should be. I don't really hold anything on anybody.
This is sort of one of the first big pass teams you've got guys who played. I think the only team you've played that are currently in the top 10 in passing. As a defensive lineman, someone who I'm sure does enjoy rushing the passer, how excited does that make you when you're entering a game like this, knowing that, hey, I'm going to get maybe more opportunities,
I think it's really good, but one thing about us that we're not in the top in run defense yet, right? We're getting there and we're putting it all together, but we're not there yet. So I'm not gonna take that for granted and think they're gonna play a passing game because we know football is always about those little inches. So again, we're just gonna really harp on stopping the run, and then once that gets stopped, then we'll set it up and do everything else when third down comes.
Wink seemed to indicate you know who Frank Zappa is.
Say it again?
Wink seemed to indicate you know who Frank Zappa was.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay. It's just music. When you come from, I think I was saying it's a California thing. When you come from LA and you're from the city, I feel like there's a lot of older family, whether it's grandmothers, grandfathers, who come from like that Motown era and they just bring it. And not just Motown, but all, from the 70s to the 80s and just on, and just kind of bring it in. It's in your culture.
He loves that you know the old time music.
Right? Yeah. It's always a blessing to be able to jam out to it.
So like the old time Thursdays or whatever he calls them.
Yeah. Throwback Thursdays.
You kind of relishing throwback.
For me, it's almost throwback every day. I always get at least an hour in where it's just old school. So for me, it's like every day, and I'm always asking like, is that my playlist? Knowing it's not. But yeah.
Most people think of you as sort of like this new age athlete, right? And the fact that you're like a throwback, how much do you think that surprises people.
I mean,
when you say that.
it surprises the people who don't, listen. And I think for me, I take pride in everything I do, for one, but I really take pride in old school music. I take pride in being like an old soul and trying to be that connection between, my parents and grandparents' generations and, giving that game to my generation.
Kayvon, we see Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams dominating on the field. What are they like off the field? Are they similar guys? Are they helpful guys? Are they goofy guys?
I would say if you watch football and then you hang out with them, you would never expect, like who they are on the field and who they are in real life are two completely different. I mean, just from Dex, I mean, he's a destroyer, right, on the football field. But when he comes off, he's all playful, and they're all great guys. I think the thing that people miss out on is that this isn't just a game, right? This is like art. This is their job and this is their work, So for me, just seeing how professional they are when it comes to the game and everything they do as far as their body, like Dex is 400 pounds. I don't know how big he is, but he's strong as anybody. And the way he just takes care of his body and can continue to go week after week, I mean, it's amazing. And Leonard, I mean, come on now, just how big he is and how strong he is, but then he's still flexible. He can still get around guys. He can still do it and then still have fun, right? And he's been a guy who's kind of taken the defense in, right? He's been that glue that's been keeping us together and keeping us going and, keeping everybody's head in it.
Off the field, how many guys that go fishing and catch fish with spears in their bare hands like him?
Yeah, I mean, not me. I wouldn't even go with him. I wouldn't go with him. The one thing I don't mess with is the ocean, so I let him have that, and but yeah, it is all. I'll probably go with him one day. I'll be on the boat, but I'll be there.
Taking pictures.
Yeah, I'll be behind the camera. If you don't see me in any pictures, just know I'm behind the camera.